Welcome to World Energy Television. I'm Richard Loomis, CEO of World Energy. And today we're hosting on-camera dialogues at Summer NAPE 2008. And we have the privilege of speaking with Bob Watson, President and CEO of Abraxas Petroleum Corporation. Bob, thank you very much for joining us.
You bet.
Well, and you've been in the business quite a while. When did you found Abraxas?
1977.
Okay. And the company is what size now?
Market cap of Abraxas is about $165 million. Then we own 47% of Abraxas Energy Partners, which is a master limited partnership, which is on the verge of going public, and its market cap will be in around $350 million.
Excellent.
So all combined, $500 million.
So what brings you to NAPE?
Great networking.
Okay.
We don't have anything to sell, but we have a booth and just as a meeting area and just see people in the industry, go around and look at prospects, see if there's anything that we might be interested in. But it's probably one of the best networking experiences in the industry, both Summer NAPE and Winter NAPE.
How long you been coming?
Since the first one.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
One was back at the hotel.
Yeah, absolutely.
Did you ever think it would get this big?
No way. This is incredible.
Well, if you look at the U.S. energy picture, I think our oil production has been declining for the last 20 to 25 years.
Right.
Do you think there's anything we can do to reverse that trend?
Conservation.
Conservation.
That's the only thing we can do. There's no magic out there where we're going to increase production significantly. Gas, yeah, maybe some of the resource plays might show a little increase, plateau for a little while. So maybe we ought to use gas more judiciously, but as far as oil goes, I think we need to conserve.
Well, and gas is a different story. I mean, we have been able to increase production.
Right.
You mentioned the shale plays. Do you think the shale plays hold the promise of increased gas supply?
Absolutely.
Do you think the steep decline is a problem?
It's a huge decline problem, but as long as people are drilling wells, they offset that decline. Now what's going to happen is one of these days the drilling opportunities are going to be reduced and the drilling rig count will go down, and then the decline will take over, and then we're in a heap of trouble again. Because that's going to be a very steep decline to try to beat.
Do you think there's any way that we could offset that?
Conservation.
Again?
Yeah, maybe nuclear power. I think we've allowed ourselves to get too complacent with cheap energy. We've got to get away from that. We've got to get more fuel efficient vehicles. We've got to be more fuel efficient in our use of electricity. Wind power, yeah, that's going to help some, but that's not the answer. But I think conservation probably gives us the best bang
shot
for our
at making
buck.
something happen. Well, and this is an election year, so I have to ask you a political question. Do you think either of these candidates have a handle on what needs to happen with energy?
You know, I think publicly they profess that they don't. I mean, what they profess means they don't have a handle on it. I would hope to think that they're smart enough to realize that we have issues that they're afraid to talk about for political reasons. But I think whoever wins needs to be able to do that. They need to be able to think very thoroughly before they act, because we don't need any more problems created for us. We need to look at the issues and be realistic about the issues, and I don't think either of those candidates have been realistic about the issues yet.
Well, if you were going to say something to the next president of the United States about energy, what would it be?
Think before you act, and don't think about raising taxes, because that's not a solution.
Well, I heard one had an idea of putting a $4.50 gasoline tax.
Well, you know,
on top of a $4 gas price.
That would address the conservation issue. People would really start thinking about driving, and you know, I'm not in favor of raising taxes for anything, but that would have a positive impact on our energy reliability of countries that we don't really want to be reliable to.
Yeah, well, I think that's also a big issue, is where we source the supply from.
Right.
If you had to look forward with limited resources, where do you think this country ought to be devoting most of its effort?
I think allow the oil and gas companies a freer rein to develop technology, to develop existing resources more efficiently, more reliably, and buy us some time. And hopefully the collective brain power of the United States and its economy will figure out a way to generate alternative forms of energy that work. Mm-hmm. Right now we've got some ideas. I don't think they're all that economically justifiable yet, but let us have a free hand to work on it. But in the meantime, we need to develop our domestic resources because we need something before those alternatives come on board.
Do you think the public's ready for that kind of answer?
No, but I'm not a politician.
Do you think there's any way that the industry could come together with the consumers and actually work on this problem?
I think there is so much mistrust, mainly because of what the media does to big oil, for instance, and I'm certainly not big oil, that the average consumer does not trust anything that an oil company does, and therefore they're going to have a hard time coming on board with them. But that's what it's going to take. People are going to have to trust the brains in this business and allow technology to work, give us a freer rein to address resources that we know we have, and buy us time, because that time is critical. I feel comfortable that within 10, 15, 20 years we're going to come up with alternative sources of energy that are both going to be economic and reliable and environmentally friendly, because we have the best brain power in the world, so let's put it to use.
Well, do you think the industry could be doing anything more to try and build that trust? Or we're doing a pretty good job, but could we be doing more?
It's hard to say. IPAA tries to get the message out to people. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. So you can tell the consumer everything you can possibly tell him that is absolutely truthful, and they're not going to believe it. So I don't have an answer to that one. That's a difficult.
I'll give you a couple of interesting statistics. The Congress approval rating is in single digits.
Right.
We know that one.
Right.
The president's at 30.
Right.
Plus or minus. The oil and gas industry across the country is at 43% approval rating.
Is that right? I didn't realize that. I would have guessed it was down in close to the single digits itself.
No. So we actually have a higher approval rating than the people who are running the country.
Well, that's a pleasant thought.
So maybe the public would be ready to hear.
Maybe so.
And we could build that kind of partnership.
The majors are doing their best. I mean, the advertisements that they have, are addressing alternative energy, green energy, the right things, and maybe that will work over time.
But we can only hope.
That's right. Absolutely.
Well, Bob, this has been very interesting. Any
You bet.
final thoughts?
No, this is great. Thanks for the opportunity.
Absolutely.
Enjoy NAPE. It's a great institution, and hope it continues.
Excellent. I'm Richard Loomis. For World Energy Television, thank you very much for watching.